All right, what is up, everybody? Keith Jameson, go back here, guy 231 across the DFS industry. Hope you all are well. Had a good NFL weekend. Been a fun little run, especially with showdowns at FSI. Had some huge wins across last Monday. For my preview, if you watched me at the car dealership, with the kickers for Dallas and Cowboys, ended up taking down part of the $15. I only got in the single entry. I didn't get in the big one, but it's just been an awesome run. So despite the game tonight kind of sucking, I'm still kind of looking forward to it because I think building's pretty straightforward, and it reminds me very much of last week's Dallas and Dallas and the Giants, just because there's like a lot of lack of options, which is going to condense the player pool, which at that point is just how I personally like to build, not having to have so many options to consider. You can just kind of condense it down. So we're gonna do that real quick on this video / pod, however you're listening to it. So quick reminder, just like, subscribe, comment if you enjoy this free content. Let's just jump right into it. So Rams going to San Francisco. Let's start on the Rams side of things. Cooper Kupp is a lock everywhere. San Francisco has gotten killed by him in the last few games. On top of that, there's just nobody else. Like, the Rams literally have nobody else. Like, Higbee is like their next best player in terms of like production. It's just gonna be Kupp everywhere. Depending on your salary, he's a great captain choice. I think the only other really option that you're at the top of the line considering is Matthew Stafford, which still might be fine because the running game is so bad for the Rams. And on top of that, San Francisco does not allow running games to take off. So Stafford might just have to produce just because. So Stafford and Kupp are by far my favorite options. Once you drop down, I think you are hard fading Henderson and Akers. If you want a goal line touch, Akers got the last two inside of the 5. Henderson outsnapped him, but if he's not going to get those goal line touches and not get a ton of targets, it's really hard to see much production. But I guess Henderson over Akers, just because of the pass game work. It seems like Cam Akers is not going to get that work. But again, I'm just fading both of them. They're just not going to be in my player pool. Now, Schoenkirk at 4,400. It's actually third on the team in targets after Kupp and Higbee. So I think he's fine for like a flyer, depending on how it fits. I did skip over Higbee. I like Higbee quite a bit. I know that San Francisco hasn't really allowed much to tight ends the first 3 games, but I think that's more based on the talent that they're facing. Higbee is actually a decent athlete, and Stafford really likes him. You've seen the Rams do like little bubble screens and things like that to him. So he's after Stafford and Kupp, he's my next favorite Ram. Then I'm dropping down to kicker. So I mentioned Schoenkirk. I think Gay is a great play. This just reminds me of a game where there could be 4 or 5 field goals, and then if you get into these field goals over 50, like, the points take off. So I really like both kickers. So Gay I think is almost a lock for cash, and Ramsey is very much in play. Garoppolo not only doesn't have the mobility of Trey Lance, but the O-line is banged up. I believe there's 1 or 2 starters that are out. Don't hold me to that. I thought I read that this morning, but could definitely see a situation where Raheem Morris dials up a lot more blitzes, and Jimmy G either gets some sacks or a couple turnovers. So like Ramsey, like the kickers. That's it from the Rams. Allen Robinson, not really on my list. You could argue him for a deep GPP play, but he just doesn't really look good. All right, let's go to the Niners. Not a huge fan of Jimmy G here, but I do like Deebo Samuel. I think they're going to use him a lot of ways, leading the team in targets. Also going to get some carries out of the backfield. So I think Deebo is the top play on the Niners. If you don't play Jimmy G, I think you do consider Ayuk. He actually might be ahead of Deebo. I didn't write it down on my notes right, but it was like 15-14, I believe. But Ayuk I like a little bit, depending on the build. Kittle is the other option. Was interesting. Kittle was doing a lot more blocking last game. I do think they need to get him involved in the passing game. We know Kittle is an absolute freak. So I think for the savings, Kittle, I was playing with a few builds. Kittle kind of fit a little bit better than Ayuk. Sorry for the sirens about to come. There's like 100 cop cars coming. That's interesting. Let me just turn it just for the video. So they're not going fast, so I'm assuming some sort of something. Anyhow, hopefully the audio doesn't get too bad. But you know, those are the 3 pass catchers. Jeff Wilson's getting all of the running back looks if it's not Debo. But Jeff Wilson doesn't really get involved in passing games, so he's really going to be touchdown dependent, especially because the Rams defense is so good against the run. And I just expect the Rams to kind of go, okay, we know what you're going to be doing here. Like, we know Kyle Shanahan, you want to run the ball. We're going to make Jimmy G beat us. So I kind of, Wilson's in the player pool, but I'm not like crazy about him either. Geez, we're like on top card like 30. Almost at the end here. So then all of a sudden now we drop back down and Robbie Gould shows up there. So I love Robbie Gould. Mentioned I love Gay. I think that the Niners defense is definitely in play too, because we know the Rams can't run the ball, which is going to make Stafford throw the ball a ton, which could lead to sacks and interceptions as well. And the only other punt I'll mention is Jennings. Plays a little bit of slot for the Niners. He's 2,000. I think if you just want like a YOLO punt, he is definitely in play. But that's really it, guys. Like, I think it's kind of a cool slate because I think you can go Kupp, kickers, Debo, decide if you want a quarterback, decide if you want like Kittle, Ayuk, or Higbee, and you kind of condensed your player pool. And now you just can, you know, if you're entering multiple ones, you can kind of just swap around captains, swap around some flyers, swap around the defenses. But it should be a fun one in cash. Fun is the wrong word. It should be a viable one in cash. So hope this helps. If it did, again, like, subscribe, comment. Thank you so much for watching. That'll say, see you.